Hey everyone, Michael Hirsch here with Break a Pencil. Hope you're all having a good day so far. Welcome back to our latest in Saturday morning coffee about the 6 personas of product leadership. So today is episode 5. So we're going to talk about the innovation architect. And specifically with each of these videos, I've been talking about one of the different 6 personas of product leadership. And again, these are roles that product leaders have to excel at and act as at varying different times throughout their day and week and month as a product leader. And so today is about the innovation architect, and we're going to spend some time talking about how can you use AI to excel in that role. What is the innovation architect? Essentially, you need to create space for innovation whilst consistently being able to ensure your team still delivers. You've got to be able to help your teams experiment, but do so thoughtfully. You want to make sure that you're evaluating new technologies and approaches, and ultimately you're fostering this culture of innovation and creative problem solving. It's not about just being innovative, it's about creating an environment in which innovation can thrive. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about maybe it's a cautionary tale. In May of 2010, Microsoft launched this phone, 2 phones actually, there's a different model as well. It was called the Microsoft Kin. And it was designed specifically for teens who loved social media. Microsoft had done an extensive amount of market research. They had focus groups. They'd done all their homework. And they had data that showed that teens wanted better social networking on mobile. They launched this phone, an enormous amount of fanfare, a big thing, a big deal. And in 48 days, they shut it down. 48 days from start to failure. What happened? Well, if we look back and we have the benefit of 2020 hindsight, Microsoft didn't really ever challenge their core assumptions that teens would pay smartphone data plan prices for a phone that couldn't run apps. They assumed social focused, that teens were telling them, meant social only. They assumed their research methodology was actually capturing real teen priorities. Every failed product I've seen has really one thing in common. Brilliant people who unfortunately never challenged their core assumptions. And frankly, I've been guilty of that as well in my career. So today we're going to dive into how can AI help us with that. So let me paint the scenario first, and then we'll jump into the demo. Our scenario here is we've got a mobile app and engagement is dropping by about 15% month over month. We've done extensive amounts of user surveys, and we know people want more features. They want a dashboard. They want the ability to share socially. They want premium tiers. So our plan is to give the customers what they want. We're going to build these 3 features over the next quarter, and we're going to boost engagement. So the first thing we're going to do in the first prompt is we're going to ask AI to extract all the assumptions that are hidden and baked into this scenario. So I'm going to grab this prompt, and today I'm just going to use Claude, and we'll go ahead and drop that in. And I have to go back and get the scenario because that's being asked for in the prompt as well. I'm going to describe a product strategy. Your job is to identify every assumption I'm making that could be wrong. Be ruthlessly skeptical and look for hidden beliefs I'm treating as facts. Then I restate the scenario. For each assumption you identify, state the assumption clearly. Explain why it might be wrong. Rate how critical this assumption is to the strategy on a scale of 1 to 10. Focus on assumptions about user behavior, market dynamics, and cause and effect relationships. Okay, let's let it go. So Claude's going to do a bit of thinking and come back to us, and it identified a number of different assumptions, ranked by how potentially damaging they could be. User surveys accurately reflect actual user behavior and needs. Why it might be wrong, survey responses often reflect what people think they want rather than what drives actual usage. Assumption number 2, adding features will increase engagement rather than decrease it. Why it might be wrong, feature bloat often reduces engagement by making apps more complex and overwhelming. So even though we're giving customers what they're specifically asking for, we might be actually doing more harm than good. Assumption 3, the 15% drop is caused by missing features rather than existing product problems. So engagement drops are more commonly caused by performance issues, confusing UX, broken functionality, or other external factors. you might be solving the wrong problem entirely. Assumption 4, these 3 specific features will meaningfully impact engagement. Assumption 5, users know why they're disengaging and can articulate it accurately. And assumption 6, a quarter timeline will reverse a negative engagement trend. So just there, with that short scenario, AI has helped us identify 6 assumptions that we're making that could be potentially harmful. So let's go to the next step of this process and ask AI to play the devil's advocate. Ask it to argue with us. So we're going to copy this prompt and I'll read it. And these prompts in this scenario is all available in a link in the description of this video. Now I want you to argue against the top 3 assumptions you just identified. For each one, what evidence would completely disprove this assumption? What are 2 to 3 alternative explanations for the same symptoms? And what questions should we ask to test whether this assumption is true? Be intellectually aggressive. I want the strongest possible case against each assumption. Okay. Assumption 1, user surveys accurately reflect actual user behavior and needs. Evidence that would disprove this: track users who specifically requested these features in surveys and measure their actual usage patterns when the features launch. If less than 30% of requesters become regular users or a featured option is low, the assumption is false. Unfortunately, that does require us to launch the feature, but let's keep reading. A/B test by removing existing features that users said were essential and see no engagement impact. Other explanations: social desirability bias, competitor mimicry, or post hoc rationalization. And here are some testing questions, right, that we can ask. Assumption 2, look at your own feature launch history. If previous additions correlated with engagement drops or plateau rather than increases, you have your answer. It could be a paradox of choice. It could be core dilution, identity confusion, and some more testing questions. And the same with assumption 3, that technical debt crisis. Your existing features are becoming slower, potentially. Maybe a competitor launched something compelling and the external market has shifted now. So we've got some good devil's advocate to challenge these assumptions that we maybe explicitly or implicitly or intentionally or unintentionally baked into our plan. Let's go to step 3, which is let's come up with some other ideas. So AI, okay, great. Come up with some other hypotheses to tell us what might be going on here. Given these symptoms, 15% monthly engagement drop, users requesting more features, generate 5 completely different root cause theories that would lead to entirely different solutions. For each alternative theory, 1, the root cause, why this would create the observed symptoms, what solution would suggest, how would you test if this was correct? Think beyond the obvious, users want more features explanation. So we'll let this one go. Value perception erosion. Users no longer clearly understand or believe in your app's core value prop. Okay. Competitive displacement. A competitor has captured user attention. Life context shift. Your users' life circumstances have changed in ways that make your app less relevant, but they're not ready to admit the relationship is over. Habit loop degradation. External triggers that used to prompt app usage have been disrupted or eliminated, breaking users' behavior patterns. And finally, success paradox. Your app has actually succeeded too well. Users have achieved their goals and no longer need intensive engagement. But you're measuring success by engagement metrics rather than user outcomes. Okay, so we've got a lot of different meat to work with here to really challenge our thinking, to look into this a little bit more clearly, and to try to get a little bit more creative about how we're looking at it. There's really an interesting parallel in this, right? Because the innovation architect, right, is all about being creative and thinking out of the box and really sort of pushing the limits of thinking. And that's exactly what we just asked AI to do for us about our assumptions, right? We've asked it to come up with this, right? What's fascinating is that AI is excelling at exactly what great innovators do: rapid perspective shifting, pattern recognition across domains. So before your next product review, run your strategy through this set of assumption challenges, right? These set of prompts. In 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we identified a number of different potential failure points that could have taken months or even longer for Microsoft to discover back when they did the kin, and it would have saved them tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars on that product launch. So my challenge to you is in this next week, look at your strategy and challenge at least one assumption that's baked into there and see what you discover. You might be surprised, and maybe it'll actually cause you to question a little bit of what you're building in as an assumption. For now, that's it. Thanks for listening. I'll see you all next week. And as always, break a pencil.